This is the oldest surviving photograph in the entire world. And it's right here in Austin at UT's Harry Ransom Center. So let's talk about why this photograph is important and why it's here in the first place. This photo dates back to the 1820s and is known as the view from the window at Le Gras. And as you can see, it barely looks like a photo at all. And while you can start to make it out in person, this enhanced version shows more clearly that it's a building and its surrounding landscape. It was taken by this guy, Nicéphore Niepce, a pioneer of early photography. It was taken using a camera that looked something like this. And even back in the 1820s, cameras taking photos wasn't completely new in of itself. Niepce's true innovation was making photographs that didn't just last hours or days, but were in fact still viewable 200 years in the future. But there are a few reasons why this photo and Nicéphore Niepce aren't super well known in history. One of these reasons is that Niepce's way of preserving photographs was extremely impractical and would not break through as the future of photography. The exact exposure time of this photo is debated, but it's at minimum 8 hours and at most several days. Just over a decade later, in 1839, this much more famous guy, Louis Daguerre, in his daguerreotype process, moved that exposure time down to just a few seconds or multiple minutes. But this wouldn't have been possible without Nicéphore Niepce himself, as he shared the details of his photography process with Louis Daguerre. But this leads to another big reason why Niepce isn't as well known as Louis Daguerre and other pioneers of photography, which is that he died from a stroke in 1833, years before innovations like the daguerreotype would come into existence. And that progress in photography was massive, going from photos like this to photos like this, because that's right, this photo of Louis Daguerre is using his daguerreotype process. But now that we know the history of the view from the window at Le Gras, how did it make its way from France to Austin, Texas? After Niepce passed away, the photo moved from his family to a long chain of private owners, mostly in Britain. And while it was exhibited from time to time, the photo would be lost from history for about 50 years, starting in the 20th century. At least until these two people got on the trail, photo collectors and historians by the name of Alison and Helmut Gernsheim. They not only tracked down and bought the photo in 1952, but they also verified the chain of ownership before it and its authenticity. And 11 years later, in 1963, the UT Humanities Center purchased a large collection of photos from the Gernsheims under the direction of F. Warren Roberts and Harry Ransom, who of course the center would be named after. And that collection included the view from the window at Le Gras, which you can see free of charge right here in Austin, Texas.